And welcome to this edition of the Native News Update on this Tuesday, April 5th. I'm your host for today's program, Paul DeMain. Many of the stories right here can also be found at our website at IndianCountryNews.com. And here are some of the news stories for the day from the Associated Press and other Native news sources. The Oglala Lakota College at Kyle marked its 40th anniversary this weekend with a luncheon and afternoon and evening powwow session on April 2nd. The college on the Pine Ridge Reservation is governed by the Oglala Sioux tribe. It began as a community college and now offers a bachelorette degree along with certificate degrees and associate degrees. The Oglala Lakota College reports an enrollment of around 1,400 students, with 900 of them the equivalent of full-time students. College officials said it was one of the first tribally controlled colleges in the nation. The United Tribes Technical College in Bismarck, North Dakota, has initial approval to offer a bachelor's degree program in elementary education. The approval is from the North Dakota Education Standards and Practices Board, which approves teacher education programs in the state. The Bismarck Tribune reports that the college run by the North Dakota tribes also needs approval from the Higher Learning Commission of the North Central Association of Colleges and Schools. Association officials are to visit the campus April 18th through the 20th. 400 of the 829 horses found abandoned and starving this winter were sold at an auction on April 2nd, one for about $2,000, but most going for between $200 and $800. More than 200 bidders from across the country and Canada came to buy on Saturday, April 2nd, and the horses sold at about 1 a minute, though some of them had ribs showing and no American quarter horse registration papers with them. The remaining horses were sold on Sunday. In December, a veterinarian warned that hundreds of the horses were trapped on a pasture with no grass and were on the verge of starvation. Several horses were found near death and were shot on the recommendation of those veterinarians. 5 New Mexico Indian communities are sharing $3.4 million in grant funding from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. The housing authorities at the Ricarilla Apache Nation and the San Felipe Pueblo will each receive $825,000. Housing authorities at the pueblos of Okwe Ngwe, Cochita, and Santa Ana are receiving $605,000 each. The funds come from HUD's Indian Community Development Block Grant Program. Senator John Barrasso has introduced legislation to help American Indian tribes pursue home ownership and other economic development on tribal lands held in trust by the U.S. government. The Wyoming Republican says that bureaucratic red tape has prevented tribes from pursuing such opportunities on tribal trust land. Barrasso says his proposal would allow tribes more control over surface leasing of such land. Barrasso is vice chairman of the Senate Indian Affairs Committee. His proposal has received the endorsement of a bipartisan group of senators from states with tribal lands. The Bay Mills Indian community says it has appealed a federal judge's court order that forced the closing of its casino in Michigan's northern Lower Peninsula. Judge Paul Maloney granted a preliminary injunction last week while he decides if the Vanderbilt Casino is operating illegally. The tribe then closed it. The casino opened in November and is located about 125 miles south of the Bay Mills Reservation in the Upper Peninsula. The Little Traverse Band of Odawa Indians operates a casino about 30 miles away in Petoskey. The group sued last year, saying the Vanderbilt Casino is illegal because it's not located on Indian land. The Bay Mills group said that it has purchased the site for the Vanderbilt Casino using funds from its land trust fund, making it Indian land and therefore legal. Governor Susana Martinez is naming a Navajo Nation businessman as Secretary of the State Indian Affairs Department. A senior aide to Martinez said Arthur Allison is being appointed to run the cabinet-level agency. The aide spoke on condition of anonymity because Martinez plans to make the announcement later this week in Shiprock, Arizona. Allison is the first Navajo to serve as the top leader of the state agency that handles issues related to Native Americans. Allison owns a security services company that's based in Farmington. He is chairman of the board of the Dene Development Corporation, and from 1995 to 1998 served as division director of the Navajo Division of Economic Development. Allison earned a bachelor's degree from Brigham Young University. And that is the latest roundup of news from Indian Country on this edition of the Native News Update. We hope that if it's voting in your state today on April 5th for local and state elections, you got out and voted. We want to thank you for joining with us and come back again soon. Miigwech.